Well, class, welcome back. This is a discussion of our last assignment for the class, last substantive assignment for the class. Now, first off, a few housekeeping measures. You'll notice that the quiz and the final have already been posted. I'm trying to put up all of these presentations as well. Everything's up on the course with more than probably about a month left, 3 to 4 weeks left in the course. The idea is this. I realize that a lot of you have families. We all have obligations. And the holidays tend to compress everything and make it more difficult to get things done. So now, everything's out there on the end of the course. And the idea is that you can pace yourself. When you have time, you can get things done. If you don't have time on one day, that's not fatal because I'm trying to stretch the times out so you have adequate time to do everything you got to do. With regard to the final, you'll notice it's in 4 parts. Each part is a certain group of chapters. There is no requirement that you do it 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do whatever order you want. That I don't care about. My idea is this, okay, is that I want you to be able to get the final, right, which is it's a series of multiple choice questions, just like the quizzes, okay, and be able to go through it, and it's broken up so that you don't have to sit there for hours on end if you know, trying to go through a whole bunch of questions. Rather, what you have is you have a series of sections that you can go through, review them as is appropriate. The time for the quiz and for the final are broken up by a little bit of time too. And then finally we get to this last case study here. And as you can see, or I soon will let you see, we're going to be building on the Zappos case study. The reason that I did this was the following. You all did a very good job your first time out with your case studies and understanding the process of developing them. And I thought, you know, rather than give you another case study, we would just simply build on that work and go from there. So let's discuss where we're at and where we're going so you have some understanding. First off, like I said, we're building on prior work. Next, you're going to post everything from now on. So when we have the issues, and this is going to be like every 3, maybe 4 days, I'll put your issue up, the Zappos case. The rules of the discussion are going to apply in this way. Your posting is no more than 250 words. Here's the other part, you don't have to respond to it. However, let's say you read your posting and then you read somebody else's posting. And you say to yourself, oh, that's interesting, or why did they do that? If you want, you can go on the discussion board and say to the person, could you explain to me why you did that? And then everybody can get it. Or if you prefer, and there's nothing wrong with this, you may want to send a private email and say, you know, I thought it was this, you wrote this, could you tell me why you did this? Okay? There is nothing wrong, and I want to underline the word nothing and wrong, okay? Nothing wrong with communicating with your fellow students about why they wrote something at this point in time. This is supposed to be interactive. I want you to learn from each other, okay? Next, once you see what other people have written, you're going to revise yours. You're going to improve it, okay? It's okay. That's the idea of it. If we were all sitting in a room together as business people, we were presented with an issue, and Marina came up with something, or Pascal came up with something, Kevin came up with something, or Emily came up with something, or Brian came up with something, we'd all listen about it, and then we'd think on it, and then we'd do something with it. Right? We'd improve our minds, right? That's the idea of being together. So if you read something and you say, that's a good idea. There's nothing wrong with you taking it and incorporating it into your own to make it better, okay? Now, when the final papers have to be in, this whole process is going to be done by December 20th. Now, don't look at this and go, oh my goodness, I have to do a paper by December 20th. You're going to have it done long before then, okay? This is just going to be the date that we're all going to work toward to get things done, okay? Because we have other things going on. Okay. Some things that people wrote, I think they're justified, and they asked, and it was, you know, why are we doing this? The first thing is, yes, we're saying the same thing over and over again. Yes, we are. Because in the newspaper industry, if you ask a newspaper man, they always tell you have to say it 3 times in order for people to understand it, or actually comprehend it and believe it. Okay? So we're going to follow the same rule. We're going to say it 3 different ways. Once in the executive summary, once in the body, once in the conclusion. Okay, 3 times. The idea is that people then will absorb it, they'll understand it, they'll be able to act on it. Next, the issue is the linchpin. Okay, now this is one failing everybody had, so I can't hold it against anybody in particular. Nobody wanted to give me an issue, so you got to give me an issue first. Okay, the issue tells you where you're going. Okay, and how do you phrase your issue? By saying the issue presented in this case is blah, fill in the blank, okay? The issue presented in this case is blah, okay? That's how you define what the issue is. And from there, it tells you where I do my research and what are my salient facts. Next, references. I know this that I used to do the same thing myself. The professor said we need 3 or 4 references. They got 3 or 4 references. However, the more references you have, the more your position is solidified. Okay? So you could have 3 or 4 references that you use, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with going out and finding ones that are ancillary to that. Okay? Excuse me. The idea is, okay, is that when you, at the end of your paper, write down references, you can spin that in however you want, and it'll be correct. Let me explain that. If you say references cited, you're only going to give the references that are in the body of the paper. If you say references reviewed, that's anything you reviewed in order to comprehend what it is was going on in the case study. It could be Wikipedia, it could be that you went to Time Magazine, it could be that you read the article in the Wall Street Journal, it could have been an ad you saw on the train on a certain day that you went and you spoke to somebody, you know, anything at all, okay? Anything that helped your brain wrap itself around the problem presented is a reference review, okay? Is it your key reference? No, but it was a reference review. So that, I tell you, that's one thing when I used to write papers, that's what I always used. I never said it was a bibliography. I never said it was references cited. I always said references reviewed, because that gave me the wiggle room of being to say, I looked at these, but there's all this stuff over here I looked at too. Okay? So references are very important. If I say 3 or 4, yeah, 3 or 4 is like the minimum. You want to go beyond that. Okay? Next, especially in this Zappos case study that we're going to do not ever reinvent the wheel. Okay? Here you're going to see what other people are doing. If they have a better idea than you, don't stick with your idea out of pride. Your idea isn't as good as theirs. That's why you're in yourself saying, that's a good idea. Okay? There's nothing wrong with learning from others and taking what they've given you and grafting it onto your own. Okay? You can still stick with what you said, but modify it based on what you've seen with others. That's called learning. Okay? If you stick, you know, with where you're at for no reason, excuse me, then you're not learning. You're just stuck in the mud. Okay? And we don't want to be stuck in the mud. Okay? So learn from others, especially in the process that we're going to do here. Don't reinvent the wheel. Okay? So that is how we're going to go forward with the Zappos case study. Okay? You'll see a series of requests for information and dates that you'll be doing and how we're going to approach it. Now, beyond that, and that's how that wraps up that, I want to say one quick thing. Okay? First off, I want to thank you all for diligently continuing with this course. This is not an easy process to do online, and the attrition rate is normally very high. So you're all to be congratulated that you've made it through this course and you're now in the last 10 or 15 days of the course. That's a big plus in your favor. I congratulate you. Having done an online course, it is a very difficult thing to do. That said, let's finish strong. In other words, nothing that you're going to do between now and the end of the semester, December 20th, is any more difficult, I'm avoiding the word onerous, any more difficult than you've seen before. Okay? And I'm trying to break it into pieces so that you can do it within a very reasonable framework of time. In other words, that's why I broke up the final into 4 pieces. I figure, you know, that it's a little bit more malleable, a little bit more easy, for lack of a better expression, to do things if they're broken up into pieces. Okay? And that'll continue throughout this whole thing, because I realize everybody here, all of us, has families and obligations. It's the holidays, and it's very difficult to balance work and school and family. And I don't want to be an impediment to any part of that. I think education is best when it helps you fulfill those other goals rather than stand in the way of them. So that's the game plan. Everything's broken out. I will be posting things and I'll be putting out things for you to see, but in terms of timing, as we do the Zappos case study. But everything else is out there for you. There'll be no more additions after these postings are done. And again, I want to thank you for taking the course. I hope you got something out of it. and that you enjoyed it. It has been a challenge on this end of the camera to prepare it, but it's been an enjoyable challenge. And so I wish you all the very best of success in your careers as you go forward. You have my email address, and you know what I look like, although I don't know what you look like. You'll see me around campus. If you ever have a question, or you have something that comes up that you need help on, I want you to feel free to reach out to me. That's what I'm there for. Again, thank you very much, and to all of you, have a very happy holiday season. And again, thank you for taking the course. Thank you for being such good students, and I wish you the best in all of your academic and personal careers. Take care, and good night.